Series 4. The Mysterious Violinist. Genre: Fantasy Family Drama. Copyright: independently published the 6th of August 2025. Author: Dr. Sheree E. Love PhD. Table of Content. 1. Episode 10 Answer to the Call of Silence. 2. Episode 11 Little Too Close to Home. 3. Episode 12 The Drop Off. Episode 10 Answer to the Call of Silence. Early afternoon the following day after the party at the Johnny Mrs. Lynette Garnett gave her daughter Marion a call at the Garnett Bed and Breakfast Boathouse, thinking Marion should be up and moving about in her suite. There was no answer and decided to make a call to her office. Maybe she would be there, Lynette thought. As the phone rang, it was answered by an answering machine after it had rang 3 times. "Thank you for calling the Garnett Bed and Breakfast Boathouse," the recording had said before being stopped. "Hello, how can I help you?" Marion's assistant had asked, not finding it necessary to repeat what the caller had already heard on the answering machine. "Hello, I am Mrs. Garnett. I'm Marion's mother. I would like to speak with her." Mrs. Garnett replied, "Well, it is nice to hear from you, Mrs. Garnett. I am Marion's assistant, Phyllis Copper. Unfortunately, Marion has not been in the office so far today and has not answered any of my calls or replied to any of my text messages that I have sent to her as of yet," replied Phyllis. "That's not right. Marion was aware that I would be calling her," Mrs. Garnett replied. "Do you think something has happened?" Phyllis had asked Mrs. Garnett, and with a quick answer, "Yes, my daughter is missing," said Mrs. Garnett. Phyllis asked Mrs. Garnett to please contact me once you find out anything. Mrs. Garnett told Phyllis that the authorities would be contacted and I will let you know what the findings are. Thank you, and the call ended. Sebastian, not waiting long, decided to give Marion a call after looking at the card she had given him with the Garnett Bed and Breakfast Boathouse on it. With his family also owning a bed and breakfast, Sebastian felt there was something the two of them had in common to talk about that would get their conversation moving along. Phyllis answered saying, "Garnett Bed and Breakfast Boathouse. How can I help you?" "I would like to speak with Marion Garnett. My name is Sebastian Ezra," he replied. "Unfortunately, her mother has informed me that she believes her daughter is missing and is contacting the authorities." Phyllis replies, "I am sorry to hear that. Hopefully I would be able to speak with her at this number at a later date," Sebastian replied. "I do too. Have a good day, goodbye," Phyllis replied and ended the call. Mrs. Garnett had talked with Mr. Garnett, trying to establish a relationship between the people who had taken Marion. Without any letter or call for a demand, it was not going to be easy. The family would just have to wait. The authorities had been contacted and there was no record of her being taken into any hospital. Mr. Garnett, Mr. Nichols and Mr. Moore were guessing. It was a well-established plan for it to happen went this way, Mr. Nichols had said, and the family members continued on with their conversation on how to change things around. 3 days was long enough. Cell phone rang, and out of Sebastian's frustration he told the caller, "Whatever your fixation is, it will not work." Feeling emotional with disbelief that someone had done that to Marion, After receiving a call and the caller was not saying anything, just holding on to the receiver, Sebastian just disconnected the call. At a time like this, would someone really play on the phone? Sebastian thought to himself and decided to relax for the rest of the day and get some much-needed sleep. All tapes from the cameras had been turned over to the authorities, and for now they had not noticed anything. The family asked that it not be on the news for now. They wanted to wait to see if there would be a call for a demand. "Hello," Sebastian said after receiving a phone call. The person on the other end had not spoken a word. "What do you think this call is about?" the caller asked Sebastian, and with Sebastian's reply he said, "Don't imply about what you want, be clear. You took Marion. Don't play games and call as if it is a game, it's not." Sebastian said to the caller. "What is it you want from me?" Sebastian asked, holding the cell phone to his ear. Still there was not a word spoken by the caller, and the call ended. Sebastian had no confirmation that it had been about Marion, but there had not been any update. Smelling agent was used to keep Marion under sedation. They had taken Marion over 11 hours away to a location that is situated within the Nantahala National Forest. Marion had awakened in a room the size of a storage closet, on a leather blue futon covered with not one but two blankets. Shortly after she had awakened, she was told that her dinner was on the way and suggested to her that she should eat or she may become sick. Walking from the shower, Sebastian's phone rang. He had walked over near the window to answer it. "Do you know what time it is?" the caller asked Sebastian. Not another fake call, Sebastian thought to himself as he started looking outside the window. "Who are you?" Sebastian had asked. The person behind this tense situation was indicating to Sebastian that they were from his past, and would only say, "You will receive the location for the exchange in 24 hours," and suddenly the telephone conversation ended. Calling and having had a conversation with Phyllis, Marion's assistant, Sebastian was now on a three-way call with a detective and Mr. Garnett as Mrs. Garnett reached for her glass of wine and was pacing back and forth, not wanting to just sit at the moment. The detective's conversation was right to the point. Detectives were on their way to meet with Sebastian to place bugs on his phones and extra cameras on the outside of the residence he was living at until this matter was over. Episode 11. Little too close to home. Having a discussion with the detective about the calls he had been receiving and agreeing right now it was their only lead. Sebastian having a clear understanding that the caller made a conscious decision to leave it out. Not say actually what they were demanding, and that they did in fact have Marion. Lynette Quinn, a gemologist who specializes in gemstone cutting using gemstone identification with specialized tools to determine the type and authenticity of gemstones, along with grading and classification for evaluating and assigning grades based on color, clarity, cut, and carat weight. Miss Quinn job responsibility at the Ezra Gem Exchange are to secure the transport of the valuable gemstones from the quarry, where they are extracted from the earth. With the gemstones' first stop being Ezra Gem Exchange location Macon County in North Carolina on Maple Street, and the last stop Ezra Gem Exchange location the Bahamas, Alice Town in North Bimini. Miss Quinn worked closely with the head gemologist Sebastian, so pulling the plan off she had in mind, Should go smoothly, Lynette thought. Miss Quinn's opportunity to visually have a look at the gems before being cut and her knowledge of them helped her with her plan. This time she was not going to be going to the North Bimini Airport. The gem she has her eyes on had not yet made it to the Bimini Island, and no one but Sebastian was going to hand it to her. Not ready to say who she was when giving Sebastian a call. Sebastian, he said after answering the call. Do you want to see Marion? The caller asked Sebastian. Yes, Sebastian replied, and you will soon. My demand is the ancient labyrinth gem in line 7 row 9 numbered 302 located in Macon County. You will receive a call in 3 days, and the caller then ended the call. That's it, the detective said as he listened in with other detectives in the office listening in on the phone call also. Mr. Spencer giving Mr. Garnett and Mrs. Garnett a call. Hello, Mrs. Garnett said after answering, not letting the phone ring more than 2 times. This is Detective Spencer, he said. Hello, this is Mrs. Garnett, she replied, then listening to the detective as he tells her, today we got some information we needed. The person that has been calling Sebastian does have Marion, he said to Mrs. Garnett. Wait one moment, I want my husband to hear this, Mrs. Garnett replied as the detective hears Mrs. Garnett call for her husband to pick up the phone. Hello, Mr. Garnett said. Mr. and Mrs. Garnett, the detective continued on to say, the caller will be back in contact in 3 days that has Marion. Please be patient, it does not appear that they will be contacting you. Sebastian is the one who will be going to the drop-off for the exchange. We will keep you up to date with the course of action we take, Detective Spencer said to Mr. and Mrs. Garnett. Hoping the matter gets cleared up soon, noticing the caller did not give a drop-off location, and with his thoughts being of Marion, hoping they had not harmed her in any way. Sebastian had contacted his parents and they are well informed about the seriousness of the situation. Sebastian asking his parents not to make any changes, and he will be calling them with updates. Asking his parents to review the camera footage while in their main office only. Complaining to his parents as he got full of emotion. They took Marion and got her in the middle of this, and she does not even know me. I have to get her back safely, Sebastian said to his parents. Hold yourself together, Sebastian. We are here for you, his parents said while they both were on the phone. Continuing on to say, we love you, before the conversation ended. Detective Spencer having a conversation with the other detectives saying, the demands of the caller implies that they have been around Sebastian, at some point in the past, with the intention of getting that gem. Sebastian being a gemologist does not mean he has that much control or the access like that. Mr. Garnett gave a call to Sebastian asking him to come over to the house. I will be there shortly, Sebastian replied. Being caught in traffic longer than expected, Sebastian arrived at the Garnett's residence being greeted by the butler. Welcome, come on in, Mr. Ezra. They are expecting you, the butler said to Sebastian as he entered. After saying hello, welcome to Sebastian, Mr. Garnett initiate a light conversation, wanting to hear from Sebastian himself how he felt about what was going on. With Marion's other family members also being present. Sebastian said for reasons unknown to him the caller has not identified themselves and he did not know why they put Marion in it. What they were demanding Marion would not have had any knowledge of it at all. Once Marion is returned, she will be able to tell us what she had learned from all of this, her Uncle Edward had replied. The caller had decided to go hiking at Nantahala National Forest while being at Ezra Bed and Breakfast, with no intentions of finding anything. It was just for relaxing the mind and body. Finding an ancient and very exquisite natural selenite crystal in the shape of a heart. It effortlessly opened up like a book. Engraved with the lotus flower, it alone is worth $250 million. Found wrapped in an old sheep cloth that was dated around 1750s period, with what appeared to be written instructions: treasure field, a garden within a garden. Unlock the door with the rhodolite inside of it. Enhancing the writing on parchment. Writing material made from specially prepared animal skin, primarily sheep, that was dated around the same period. Including a specific size that would not be easy to locate. Also stating the hardness is 10. Dazzling. After breathing on the stone, the fog would disappear almost instantly. The caller had kept the find to themselves, not knowing if the gem could be found, and 3 years later it had been found, and it's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Sebastian made travel arrangements and arrived at the Macon County Airport the next morning. His first stop was at Ezra Gem Exchange, having a look at what was so important to the caller: a rhodolite with a perfect clarity that is emerald cut, having rose to raspberry tones with a subtle purple variation. Even though the rhodolite stone was the largest ever found, Sebastian felt there had to be more to this, seeing that Ezra Gem Exchange have these gems for sale all the time. Maybe it is the size, Sebastian thought as he decided to look at the log tracking it from the location where the gemstones had been extracted. Episode 12. The Drop-Off. Lynette went to a location in the Nantahala National Forest to set up for the drop-off of the rhodolite. Afterwards she returned to the Nantahala National Forest location where Marion is being held, being sure not to reveal her identity to Marion. Lynette Quinn will not be asking about her relationship with Sebastian. The 4 men helping her are not to mention her name to Marion or tell her what the reason is for being held. Crossing paths years ago, the 4 of them had been doing research on ancient stones in Mexico with Lynette when she was a student in the field of geology, specifically the study of rocks and minerals. Miss Quinn has paid half up front and the other half will be paid to them once Marion has been returned. Only Lynette will be retrieving the rhodolite. One will be with her as a standby and the driver. The drop-off for the rhodolite will be in a place that has a rigged mechanism that is undetectable. Once the lid has been placed down and the person has walked away, the mechanical system that has been manipulated and altered in a 3D control animations will have movement in a way that favors a specific outcome. The box that the rhodolite is placed in will lower to 2 feet underground with a tracker attached to it. And move along what is a rail track 20 feet away from the drop point. Lynette will remove the camera and mechanism after she has the rhodolite. The system is small enough to fit inside a backpack and has been set up in such a way that it can be completely removed from where Lynette will be positioned, and there will be no reason for her having to return to that location. One of the men returned with dinner for them and Marion. She is able to move around in a secure room that does not have a window but does have a bathroom. There is an opening on the door at the top that is being used to hand her food and drinks. It is stylish for a person who is held against their will, and everyone is able to keep watch on her. The plan had already been worked out before picking up Marion. 1. The men will be going to pick up the van in the morning, and Lynette will be making her call to Sebastian for the drop-off. Marion does not know where she is or who she is with, and Lynette has no let Marion hear her voice. No one is to mention anyone's name until after Marion has been returned, and their conversations are to be something briefly and without going into details. It has been a few days and there has not been an end result to the issue surrounding Marion for the family. Carlton had talked with his cousins Calvin and Jean. The weekend starts tomorrow, and Rosalind and Marcus agreed to spending time together at the Garnet bed and breakfast with their cousins. Calvin called Marion's assistant Phyllis Copper. "Hello, this is Calvin," he said after Marion's assistant answered the call. "Hello," she replied. "What can I do for you, Calvin?" Phyllis had asked Calvin, and he continued on saying, "I have 3 cousins that will be visiting tomorrow for the weekend, Carlton, Marcus and Rosalind," he replied. "Are there suites available they can rent when they arrive?" "Yes, there are," Phyllis replied. "I can keep those suites available for them." "What time will your cousins be arriving?" "The 3 of them should be arriving at the same time, 9 a.m., he replied. "Sounds good," Phyllis replied. "I will see them then. Enjoy your day, Calvin." "You too, Phyllis," Calvin replied, and the call ended. 8 a.m. Marcus called for his driver to bring the limo. Pulling up at the entrance was a black Rolls-Royce Phantom GTA, and the driver got out and opened the passenger door, holding it open as he watched Marcus walking towards him. After entering the limo, Marcus made phone calls to his cousins informing them that he was on his way, first picking up Carlton, then Rosalind. On the way, the 3 of them did not mention Marion's name. Rosalind and Marcus closed their eyes as it would be 2 minutes after 9 a.m. when they would arrive at the Garnet bed and breakfast. Marion parents Mr. and Mrs. Garnet happened to get up at 7:30 a.m. and decided to go for a swim before breakfast. They had the water temperature set on a warm setting. Mrs. Garnet asked the butler to have their breakfast ready at 9:30 a.m., asking that her and Mr. Garnet be served a half cup of orange juice, 1 cup of milk and toast with tomatoes and provolone cheese, along with 2 eggs that are sliced in half and 1 avocado sliced. That the 2 of them would have a short swim this morning, with the water splashing as Mr. and Mrs. Garnet played with each while they were in the water. The housekeeping staff were watched the 2 of them through the windows from different levels in the home while they were in the pool. Mr. Garnet stopped splashing the water for a moment as Mrs. Garnet watched him swim over to her, stop and rise out of the water, putting his arms around her, saying with a smile as he looked at her, "Good morning, Mrs. Garnet." "Good morning, Mr. Garnet," she replied, and Mr. and Mrs. Garnet kissed. Afterwards the 2 swim around in the water. Sebastian received the call waiting for 3 rings. Today is the day for the exchange for Marion to be returned. "Hello," he said, and voice on the other end of the phone gave a location in Nantahala National Forest for the rhodolite to be dropped off. "Make sure you are alone. You and I both know you know your way around." And the call ended.